from one very large prestigious association to another very large prestigious association, and we are going to ICCO, or ICCO, the International Communications Consultancy Organization. And we're going to listen to the current president, Mr. Grzegorz Szczepański, and he's come all the way from Warsaw, and he's also the CEO of Burson, Poland. Grzegorz is one of Europe's most experienced PR professionals with over 30 years in the business. His extensive career spans both consultancy roles, and he's worked in companies like Burson, Marsteller, Edelman, and Hill & Knowlton, and also in in-house corporate positions where he served as the Chief Communications Officer for UniCredit and Heineken in Poland. A passionate advocate for the PR profession, Grzegorz founded and presided over the Polish Public Relations Consultancies Association, establishing it as the main body representing the PR profession in Poland. As the president of ICCO since 2022, he continues to make exceptional contributions to the development of PR in Europe and beyond. Today, he will speak more about reputation, relevance, and relationships, PR's impact on the global issues of our time, which incidentally is also the theme for the upcoming ICCO Summit that's taking place on October 9 and 10 in Istanbul, Turkey. Grzegorz, over to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Grzegorz.
What a research about my person. I blushed. Well, I can tell you this looks serious. Forgive me if I will not be fluent enough, but I'm kind of stressed. You believe me or not, but I'm shaking almost. never spoke in the front of such a big public in such a great, huge scene. I a little bit twisted the title of my presentation to explain you a bit what we are. So ICCO, also known as ICCO, that's going to be confusing now, is the largest representation of PR companies in the world. In that sense, we kind of are sharing the notion of being the largest. PRCA is our member, but most importantly, PRCI is our member. So many members of ICCO is sitting on the room with one very special Nitin Mantri, who was my predecessor, first Indian president of ICCO, and I'm the first Polish president of ICCO. Many first things happening, first time PRAXIS, first time India. By the way, talking to some of you, I mean, so many people started Genesis. Nitin, I didn't know you started Genesis as well. I started Burson Marsteller exactly 30 years ago. It's kind of sentimental to me to be a CEO of the Burson Poland, the company that I started 30 years ago while being in the corporate side, having my own agency in the last 12 years, spending in Hill & Knowlton. Quite interesting place to be in. The way to explaining you what is ICCO will be to share with you that the unbelievable deposit of knowledge that we are able to aggregate while cooperating with the friends, the agency friends from, in fact, every corner of the world. What I'm going to show you is the things that we are having in common and the things that are so different from what you can remember from the last 20 years in our industry. So I decided to share with you my 6 still biased takes of where we are heading as the industry, which are the decisive moments of our industry at this very moment, because I still believe since something like 2 years, we are in the turning moment. And many things will be happening now that are defining our profession, and show me one person who can predict what's going to be in 5 years from now. I can tell you what's going to be in 2 years from now, but not 5, not certainly 10, not even 15, whereas the last 100 years were more or less similar. So starting with this one. So climate urgency, that's going to be my first take. It shouldn't be a surprise for you. We're going to show you a little case study which will explain you again what is ICCO, what we do.
Historic, record-breaking drought.
Record-breaking temperature.
116 degrees.
130 degrees.
140 degrees. Do I hear 145 degrees?
Now researchers say there may be a new way to inform the public.
The program was particularly effective at changing the views of politically conservative parents.
Sono
Sarah.
I'm Kayla.
สวัสดีค่ะ
So is Dylan.
Je suis Noah.
When I'm Dylan Johnny.
It's all about to who?
With the very special weather report. From up there to down here, everything is crazy. Let's look at the forecast for 2050.
Global initiative, they're calling it Weather Kids.
To mobilize climate action for future generations.
Cette campagne est diffusée dans plus de 80 pays.
Incroyable, non? En Belgique, sera la même que celle qu'on retrouve aujourd'hui.
Heat waves will affect 94% of children, making outdoor kids a thing of the past. Disasters cost taxpayers almost $6 trillion. My parents hate taxes, but don't worry, there's still a chance of clear skies.
With a special forecast just like this, it's looking ahead to what our planet might look like in the year 2050.
I made the pledge today, and I encourage our viewers to do the same.
For my daughter Charlotte, thinking about what action we need to take to protect the planet, she says to me, Mummy, is the planet going to be okay? And I want to say to her, yes. So
This is such an excellent initiative to communicate climate
We're
change.
going to raise awareness and encourage climate action worldwide.
If there's one thing we can all agree on, is that we want a better future for our kids.
We'll keep you posted as we track if adults stop wasting time and fix this totally solvable problem. Because it's not just a weather report to us, it's our future. Nostro futuro. It's our future.
Oh, she had me at the first word.
So what you've seen was the first ever campaign that was done together by ICCO, together with the UNDP, the partnership that we were working on for many, many years. During the Knitting's term, we've been able to open up the partnership with the Council of Europe, and my dream was that in my term we will be partnering with the United Nations. And it happened. Why we are doing this? ICCO purpose is to give us a prominent place at the table. The second session in the morning was all about that. In order to still maintain, be attractive business for the new ones, we have to matter. And that relevance for the business is critical, a kind of guiding principle of what we do in ICC. What you just seen is the biggest campaign that I've seen in the PR industry since I'm here, and I'm 30 years already. We've been able to put together a network of 40 partners that were running this campaign one day, 21st of April, at the very day of the planet Earth, in 80 markets simultaneously. And all of it was done pro bono. We are having one activation partner in the room, so Girish with his agency On Purpose. Thank you all, friends. You've been one of the very strong activation partners in this very campaign, and it's not our last word. So climate urgency. Climate urgency, not the climate change, because climate change is already there, so there is no dispute. We overheated. The number of anomalies throughout the last years are growing, so the incidents, the violent incidents that we are witnessing are just around us. Only 2 days ago, Poland was flooded in the south, so it's happening. What does it mean for us from the practical terms? We will be asked for what we're going to do with all of this. We can run the campaigns like you've seen, but it's not enough. Only today in the morning, we will meeting with Paul Mottram from Zeno. He's having a great project in his mind about carbon pricing. Maybe we'll engage together to do something about that. It's not enough. Companies should now align their strategies, not to do a CSR kind of stuff you still remember, which can be treated as greenwashing. So people are wary of greenwashing, as the partners are, and that's one of the overwhelming trends that we should bear in our mind and approach it practically. Number two, geopolitics is everything. So, it started, in 2007, there was the launch of iPhone, probably the best product of globalization. iPhone, designed in California, manufactured in China. 2008, the first financial crisis started, and this tended to collapse. 2017, during the first term of Donald Trump, the duties were imposed on Chinese products to the US, and it all started. We all know, I was talking today also to Deepshika, that there is a great time for India to become maybe a leading force now, at least to take over the number 3 place in the world economies. So the politics is also here. This devastated the supply chains throughout the world. We all remember that. That's why we can say this is the end of globalization. From where I come from, basically from Europe, everybody's saying Europe is kind of a market. We are not united. We are doing a lot of that. If there is one thing that Europe is best, it's a regulation, not necessarily something which is helping business. And everybody's saying it's slow. That's why we were debating what we should do in order to be more competitive. And then we have Mario Draghi with his famous report just being published 10 days ago, I guess. And everybody will be now playing on the keyword competitiveness. So if you are doing any business in Europe, if you will be doing any advocacy project in Brussels, make sure that the keyword competitiveness will be embedded in your communication strategy. That's a practical take. So, I mean, it's debate. It's gonna be the way it is. I mean, at this very moment, the most prominent brands in Europe are being produced outside of this very continent. It's the ending. We are waiting. Unfortunately, Intel just decided to go away from Europe. Poland was one of the countries when they were building up their huge assembly for the chipsets. Unfortunately, as you know, all of us know, they withhold it from that. We'll see where it goes. But all of it in light of the huge conflict between Russia and the entire Europe over the war in Ukraine. How relevant it is in India? Oh, well, it is, because your Prime Minister just visited Poland after 40 years not being present. So it is very relevant at the very corner of the year. How much? Again, Hindenburg Research. I've seen yesterday the presentation that you have your case of Adani Group. We have our Polish case with them. Basically what they did, they accused one of the companies, the huge clothing company, the biggest one in Poland, but also biggest one second biggest in Europe, that they still continuing doing business in Russia, despite that, as you know, it's ethically very questionable in the neighboring country to the war in Ukraine to continue businesses in Russia. I can say that I'm a proud member of the WPP group, which was the first international communications group going out of Russia, leaving this market. Only this accusation, you could see on the chart, just devastated the stock price of that very company, even though it was not very well backed up. So basically, Hindenburg Research, it's being called by the Polish authorities as the financial terrorists of the current time. So basically, they were making a lot of money of making this stock go down by more than half. Polarization, it's going to be a third trend. Why? I mean, you know better than me. I mean, you were having your elections recently. This is how Europe looks. I'm from the country which is third most divided country in Europe, but the most importantly is how it is changing. So you see that across all Europe, Poland, France, Italy, England, it's getting worse. Same US and Canada, pretty peaceful place. Canada, US getting into divides. This is the change. So even Canada is now more divided than it used to be. And we are in the year of elections. You're having in May, I guess, I remember. It is concerning more than half population of the humans on the planet. And as you see, the polarization is growing. There are the places like a famous, the politicians betting on the refugees. Poland, Italy, Germany, US, and somebody said me in the plane that even in your country, that was in some of the arguments that these people will be used in order to score points. The fourth one, it's kind of obvious. That the Davos is making their predictions every year. They publish the global risk report at the beginning of the year. And this is the snapshot of what they were announcing in February this year.
The results speak for themselves. People are deeply concerned. It's the first time we've had that risk explicitly spelled out in the report, and it has jumped to number 1 in the 2-year time frame. And it's number 2 in the 2024 time frame. And in the next 2 years, because such a large part of the world is going to be voting, whether it's national elections, local elections, it is a risk that has to be taken seriously. And because the speed with which some of that synthetic content can be created and the fact that it is not tagged or watermarked in many parts of the world, and combine that with the fact that most people are not educated at present as to the risks of some of that synthetically generated mis and disinformation. Together, that's a very potent mix. And throw that on top of a situation where there are already a lot of economic grievances and other things, you're looking at a very difficult combination going into elections.
So what we've seen the populism being weaponized by disinformation, which led us through the series of elections that are dividing our societies for good and for many years from now, which means that I think even here, not even here, predominantly here, in most of our agencies, the services related to so-called disinformation shield are getting common now. It was non-existent type of service. Even 2 years ago, I didn't see a single agency in my market that is offering this service. Now, it should be a common everywhere in every decent agency. Finally, AI. And I deliberately said it's a big unknown, because show me somebody who will tell me what AI will do to our industry. Now we're getting more efficient because we are having our tools. WPP is having the entire suite called WPP Open that you can use every day, and that is making us more effective. But there is one that is coming. We don't know. We are a content industry. We don't know how much of this content is already synthetic and how much of that it's going to be. The ones that have been in Cannes during Cannes Lions Festival, you probably remember these conversations with the art industry people. They said, oh my God, I mean, what we are fighting for is the last 0.5% of the attention span of the public, and the entire industry is fighting for only this. So we have a bandwidth problem. And now this bandwidth is being loaded by the amount of synthetic content that we cannot even imagine. I was at the AMEC conference, I bet it was March, down there in Prague, and I was hearing to the colleagues that they were predicting it's going to be really like a logarithmic load of that content that will make one thing. I mean, that's one of the typical dashboard of the media monitoring company. And that's going to be my prediction. I can tell you, 1 year from now, we will be reporting which AI content it's being read by AI. So AI will be talking to AI, will be reporting this. Tell me for how long clients is going to pay for that, for just reporting what AI was witnessing. So I don't know where it's going to lead us. I know that there are still decent media, but how many Financial Times we have in the world? So we all are so happy that they are still growing the business on the subscription, but I think India is not a different country. We observe it throughout the world, the deterioration of the ethos of the media, because, I mean, they're getting worse and worse. James even was saying this, that there is the decline in media, which is making them much less resistant to any paid proposals of cooperation, which is diminishing the value of the real content, real unbiased content. But at least we still have Financial Times, so there is still the light in the tunnel. We've been, yesterday at the presentation of our colleague from Publicis, we've been hearing still the influencers are having a greatest, I'm still having a great influence. One of the trends that we observe in corporate comms, the influencer marketing in corporate comms is getting more and more on scale. But I have 2 colleagues which are influencers that are already using synthetic content for themselves. So, and I can tell you, when I was observing my colleague how he's preparing his weekly, and in the past it was taking him at least 2 days, now 5 minutes. And it's scary, and people will depict it. And where they will go, that's a big question mark. So my last take is people first. Unbelievable how little people in our industry didn't understand it yet still. I mean, it's the end of the rat race. We cannot bet that somebody will be engaged because we are a great agency that is not able to provide a higher pay, and it's still expecting that people will be working after hours. You know this famous syndrome, client calling you 6 p.m. on Friday, please prepare it for me for Monday, 8 a.m. What does it mean? Who's going to work now for weekends? We going to work. I mean, my probably age group, but not the younger ones. And we should do something about it. When I was talking to Deepti yesterday, I very much welcomed the initiative of Client Agency Charter. It's been done by PRC in UK many years ago. It's been done now, or it was actually you. It's been now discussed here in India, and I think one of the contract there should be that there should be a mutual respect for the people they're working with. So the clients should not be different than us because of that very simple statistics, because of this. These people are very vulnerable. They're vulnerable because they're exposed to such a big number of content and their social media activity. They are so much dependent from the dopamine, which is in that very screen, that they're simply overloaded. And if we're gonna add our partner needs, the serious problem will appear. So that was my last take. We are having our yearly summit. The next one is coming in Istanbul, so another announcement. The biggest international group that is coming to the ICCO Summit, last one was in Warsaw, was actually from here, from India. We were having, I guess, 12 of you, and we're gonna have 8 of you, I think, in Istanbul. But maybe we can grow this group still in order to break 10 people, and you're gonna be, again, the biggest international or biggest nation coming from outside of the hosting country. That is my dream. What I was sharing with you was just my biased take, but in order this not to be my biased take, but be like a common knowledge of the industry, please participate in our yearly World PR report. We are gathering the data from the individuals. If you can scan this QR code out, make your efforts, and give us your takes of where the industry is going, you will be the first one to obtain the results of that very research. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Grzegorz, you want to move the number from 8 to 10, I would assume, right? Beyond that, is there any special offers for people coming to Praxis? Anything you want to share?
Of course, we can make a nice proposal. We have. Yes. Something like 35% discount is there.
That's awesome.
The discount is around 35% post 10 people.
Perfect. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Yes. If you can just stand up, introduce yourself, and then, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Griva. Great presentation. A lot of gloom, but I think a bit of a doom. But I just want to share. I'm Ashish Babu. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for TCS. I lead all the global markets. You and I spoke yesterday. I love my sympathies for what happened in Poland. I know Intel left, but my company just invested in Poland yesterday. We were toying that should we make that news, but we felt I think there'll be some good news while things are getting flooded. We're just opening a 2,000-seater center, which is going to service our global clients. So India is coming for Poland. Be happy. Thank you.
I am happy, and I can tell you why I am happy. Because of these geopolitical tensions, we are observing so-called quiet quitting of American business in Poland. So it's not being announced publicly, but because especially my company is very close to American business, we see, to just give you an example from the very last month, Levi's, the jeans producer, they were having 2 factories in the world. One in South Africa, second one in Poland. And Poland, the one much more effective, so basically a cheaper production, but they shut down this one. Question why? So basically there is still this tension of the war. Nobody knows what Mr. Putin is going to do. Nobody knows what's going to be the outcome of the US elections yet, whereas we do have our sympathies in there. And so many great minds are now leaving ACS centers in the south of Poland. So thank you very much that you're coming, and I can promise you, you will be very happy because so many unemployed people out there just there waiting for you.
So we've been there for 45 years. We never left. We're only growing your business there. And you have great talent, so thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Do we have one question here? Could we have the microphone here in the front table, please?
Myself, Shaili. I'm from SCORE. My question to you is how to strike a balance between greenwashing and societal impact? Like how to avoid the trap of performative activism?
So, I mean, it's as simple as that. The founder of Burson, Harold Burson, said that public relations is ultimately the problem-solving profession, and you should be authentic in what you do. So whenever you are designing your, let's say, sustainability platform, you should look at the impact that you are creating, forget about the positive impact, focus on the negative impact, and demonstrate how you can manage this. Manage this in a way that will be good for the society and will be credible. So basically, you have the saying, walk the talk. And that's all what you should be doing. All of us are already fed up with this round, nicely sounding statements of the big corporates of what they do, 20% more for 20% less raw material, never reported like that. That's why we were having in the morning very difficult discussion whether we can make this carbon pricing like a worldwide initiative, because there are so many political / profit angles that will be making all this more difficult for us. But we'll be authentic and walk the talk.
Hello. Hi, Greg. My name is Deepika, and I'm in Girish's team at On Purpose. You know, you're in communications consultancy, and I feel and you've touched upon a pressing topic of our times, climate. We all know the problem. It's been well established. I think we are talking too much about the issue, but not so much about the solution. You know, even in ads, we take so much time establishing that the world will collapse, we'll all die. We all know this. I don't think we are doing enough about it. How do we change the approach to talking about solution more, showing a future world where if we make these incremental changes in our lives, how will it look like 2 years, 10 years, while in our lifespan, and showing that more in our campaigns?
Oh my God, so difficult. Thank you for that question. I will use our morning session with Paul again. I don't know if you, Paul, somewhere in the room, but we were debating exactly this. Even though I was showing you the campaign that we are very proud of, we just managed to get the message across. But did we change the situation? No. Did we influence it? To be 100% candid with you, no. I was sharing this with you only because we've been able, for the first time in at least my professional life, to get at the table 40 entities showing a PR for good, which we all need. Because, you know, I don't know India, I can tell you European markets, we are having a problem of the perception of the PR industry as a whole. That we are somebody making gimmicks in order to pay for the profits of our clients, not necessarily doing good. So the more people, the younger people will see that this PR for good thing, the better we will be positioned to attract them to the business. But to your point, the policy initiative of the carbon pricing is exactly the thing. So we need to have a very easy to understand bet that we can all agree that we're going to fight for. So if we all agree that the new taxation model should be a price for the carbon emission that will automatically incentivize the business to innovate in a way to be more dependent of the carbon-free technologies, then we will be closer to the solution. But even me explaining this to you, and Paul heard it today in the morning from me, it's too complicated. So I agree with you. I mean, we should be advocating for the solutions, but unfortunately the world is a little bit more complicated. And again, sorry, Paul, I'm gonna steal this quote from you, because, you know, the many people making policy, they care about the next year, we care about the next month, and that's the problem. I think that's
fantastic. Thank you so much, Grzegorz.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.